We're not just looking at a book today, we are unpacking a psychological phenomenon. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is so much more than a finance guide. It's one of those books that just fundamentally rewired how millions of people think about money, about work, and really, about their own potential.
And this is the core message, isn't it? It's the jolt that has grabbed readers for decades. It's a direct challenge to the life script that, let's be honest, most of us were handed. It's a promise that there's another way out there, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what that way is.
All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll meet the two dads and their totally conflicting worldviews. Then, we'll dive into what the book calls the rat race, that trap so many people fall into. From there, we'll get into the core rich dad philosophy, but we'll also hit a necessary reality check on the book's criticisms before finally exploring why it's had such a lasting impact.
Okay, let's start with the absolute central genius of this book. It's storytelling. It all boils down to this really powerful contrast between two father figures, and each one represents a completely different path in life.
And this is where you really see the two mental models clash. On one side, you've got Poor Dad, who represents the traditional path, right? Get a great education, find a secure job, climb the ladder, and above all, play it safe. But then you have Rich Dad, who represents the entrepreneurial path. Be street smart, build businesses, and learn how to make money work for you. This contrast is the engine of the entire book. It's not just about two guys. It's about two completely different philosophies on life.
So, the book argues that if you follow that poor dad mindset, it leads you directly into a trap. It's a cycle that's so common, so normal, that millions of people are stuck in it and don't even realize it. He calls it the rat race. And here's what that cycle looks like. You work hard to earn a salary. Great. But that money immediately goes out the door to pay bills and buy liabilities. Things that cost you money. Pretty soon, you need more money, which means you have to work even harder. It's this perfect, vicious loop. A hamster wheel where you're running faster and faster just to stay in the exact same place financially.
And this is the key question, isn't it? I mean, if the cycle is so obvious when you lay it out like this, why do so many people stay on the wheel? Well, the book argues the answer isn't just about the numbers. It's all about psychology.
See, the book says the trap isn't really financial, it's emotional. It's welded shut by our deep-seated fear of instability, by the social pressure to have a safe job, and by a fundamental lack of real-world financial education. The problem isn't the numbers in our bank account, it's the conditioning in our heads. So if that's the trap, what's the escape plan? This is where the book really delivers. It introduces a completely different philosophy, a whole new set of principles designed to break that rat race cycle for good.
Now this is the first major mind-bending concept for a lot of readers. The goal isn't a bigger paycheck. The goal is to stop trading your time for money altogether. It's about building systems, assets, that generate income for you passively, whether working or not.
And the book's definition of an asset just cuts through all the complicated financial jargon you've ever heard. Its power is in its simplicity. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. That's the entire definition, and it changes everything. So what are we talking about here? Well, classic examples are things like rental properties that generate monthly cash flow, stocks that pay out dividends, businesses that are systemized to run without you there, or even intellectual property like a book or a patent that earns you royalties. These are things you acquire that pay you. And of course, on the flip side, the definition of a liability is just as simple. And just as important, it's anything that consistently takes money out of your pocket.
And yeah, these are things that are instantly recognizable to most of us. Car payments, personal loans, credit card debt, and this is the controversial one, the big family home with a mortgage that drains your cash every single month without putting any back in. The whole philosophy is to spend your life acquiring assets, not liabilities. Simple as that.
Okay, so we've seen the big, powerful ideas. But to really have an honest conversation about this book, we need to address the other side of the story, because it has faced a lot of criticism over the years, and it's really important to understand why.
Yeah, let's just be direct about it. For all of its mindset-shifting power, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is far from a perfect guide. And some of its flaws are actually pretty significant and definitely worth thinking about. The main criticisms really fall into four key areas. First, it's huge on inspiration, but it's very, very light on the practical how-to. Second, there's a good chance the rich dad character is entirely fictional, which kind of undermines the book's credibility. Third, it promotes some pretty risky strategies, like using debt, without enough warning about the very real dangers. And finally,
Its definitions, while powerful, are often way too simple for the complexities of the real world. So, given those really valid criticisms, why are we still talking about this book? Why has it stayed a global bestseller for over 2 decades? Well, the answer lies in its true purpose.
The book's real power isn't in its technical advice. It's in its ability to take a sledgehammer to our most deeply held beliefs about money. It just shatters the idea that school prepares you for financial success, that a job is the ultimate form of security, and that taking any kind of financial risk is always a bad thing.
And this is the true takeaway. The book's value isn't as a map, but as a catalyst. It's designed to change your mindset, to spark your curiosity about investing, and to create a real hunger for financial freedom. In short, it's not meant to be the entire journey. It's just meant to be the very first step. Ultimately, if you read this book expecting a step-by-step textbook, you're probably going to be disappointed. But if you approach it as what it really is, a manifesto designed to wake you up and alter your perspective forever, then its value is absolutely immense.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. After hearing all of this, what is the one belief you were taught about money or work or wealth that might actually be holding you back? What's the one idea you might need to unlearn to start building a different future?